This is Omni-Fi. Today's story, it was a mess of jagged peaks and valleys, a nonsensical jumble of data that defied pattern recognition. Let's get into it.
The void was a placid, black mirror, and the Odyssey was a silver needle tracing a line across its face. Inside, the air tasted of recycled ozone and the faint, metallic tang of Commander Eva Rostova's exhaustion. She stood on the bridge, her gaze fixed on the main viewer, where a nebula bled colors that shouldn't exist, a bruise of violet and sickly green against the velvet black. Her second, Kalen Vance, was a study in restless energy, his fingers drumming a silent rhythm on the console beside her. "Anything, Kale?" Eva asked, her voice low, a thread of weariness woven through it. They'd been out here for 3 standard years, chasing ghost signals and cosmic dust, a mission that felt like it was slowly grinding her down to nubs. "Just the usual cosmic static, Commander," Kalen replied, not looking up from his diagnostics. "The Whisperer Nebula is quieter than a tomb tonight. Though," he paused, a flicker of something new in his eyes. "There is something. A whisper. Buried deep. It's not on any known frequency. It's structured, but broken." Eva turned from the nebula, her full attention on him. "Broken how?" "It's like a language with all the vowels removed," Kalen explained, his fingers flying over the haptic controls, pulling up the chaotic waveform on a secondary screen. It was a mess of jagged peaks and valleys, a nonsensical jumble of data that defied pattern recognition. "It's got a rhythm, a syntax, but it's corrupted, like a recording played on a broken player at the wrong speed." "An alien signal," Eva breathed, a familiar thrill cutting through her fatigue. "Finally, a reason to be out here." "Commander," Kalen agreed, his usual sarcasm tempered by a genuine spark of scientific curiosity. "But it's not just alien. It feels old, ancient, and it's coming from that." He gestured to the viewer, where a single, unremarkable point of light had resolved itself from the nebulous backdrop. A planet, a dead rock orbiting a dying star. Eva stared at the coordinates. It was a graveyard system, a place where stars came to die. "No one came here. Plot a course, Kale. Let's go see what the dead have to say." The descent was a slow, deliberate dance. The Odyssey was a sleek survey vessel, not a warship, and its landing struts groaned under the strain of settling onto the barren, gray surface of the unnamed planet. The air was a thin, toxic soup of sulfur and argon, and the silence was so profound it felt like a physical pressure on their eardrums. Eva and Kalen, suited and booted, stepped out onto the landing pad. The crunch of their boots, the first sound this world had heard in eons. The planet was a sculpture of desolation. Jagged obsidian spires clawed at a bruised, ochre sky. The ground was cracked and dry, littered with the fossilized remains of creatures that were never meant to breathe this air. But as they scanned the horizon, a monolithic structure rose from the plains, a geometric impossibility that defied the planet's geology. It was a hemisphere of polished black stone, perfectly smooth, gleaming dully under the dim red light of the star. It was a server farm the size of a moon, but it was built on the surface, exposed to the void, a tomb for a forgotten god. "That's no natural formation," Kalen muttered, his suit's external speakers amplifying his voice. "That's engineered." Eva didn't answer. She was already moving, her long strides eating up the distance towards the vast, circular entrance that yawned in the structure's side like a blind eye. The air around the entrance was strangely still, a pocket of calm in the planet's toxic winds. As they drew closer, a low, resonant hum vibrated through the soles of their boots, a sound that seemed to emanate from the very stone itself. It was a frequency that felt ancient and deeply sad. Inside, the hum resolved into a chorus of 1,000 silent voices. The main chamber was a cathedral of data. Towering pillars of crystalline storage units stretched upwards into darkness, their surfaces shimmering with internal light. Walkways, impossibly thin, snaked between the pillars, leading into the heart of the structure. The air was cool and smelled of ozone and dust, the scent of a library that had been closed for millennia. "It's the source of the signal," Kalen whispered, awestruck. It's a library of minds." Eva ran a hand over the surface of a nearby pillar. The stone was warm to the touch, and as her fingers brushed it, a flicker of light pulsed up from its base. A single, silent image bloomed in her mind. A being of liquid light, its form shifting and flowing, standing on a world of vibrant green and blue under a sky of impossible colors. It was a memory, pure and unfiltered, stolen from a dead mind. The weight of it was staggering. She was a thief, breaking into the tomb of a species. "We need to interface with the central core," Eva said, her voice firm, pulling her hand away as if burned. "We need to understand what happened to them, and what that signal is." The central core was a sphere of pure, blinding light suspended in the absolute center of the chamber, a sun in a temple of shadows. The walkway leading to it was a precarious path of light, suspended over an abyss of inactive pillars. Eva and Kalen crossed it slowly, their boots echoing in the vast emptiness. The humming grew louder, more insistent, a sound that felt like it was coming from inside their own skulls. As they approached the sphere, the light coalesced, forming a figure. It was not the liquid light from the memory, but something more structured, more solid. A humanoid shape made of shifting data, its features indistinct but radiating a profound, aching sorrow. It was the ghost of the library's caretaker, a final echo of its creators. "We are the Nemivores," the being communicated, not with sound, but with pure thought, a voice that resonated in their minds like a struck bell. "We were the keepers. We were the memory." The being gestured, and the chamber around them flickered. They saw the Nemivores in their full glory. Beings of pure consciousness, living within the crystalline pillars, their collective memory forming a gestalt mind that spanned their world, their star system, their galaxy. They were a species that had achieved immortality not through technology, but through memory. They had stored their entire history, their art, their science, their very souls, in this archive. And then they came. The Nemuv ghost continued, its sorrow deepening. The singers, the leviathans of the deep ocean. They did not speak with words, but with song. Their songs were light years long, a symphony of pure psychic energy. They did not understand us. They did not want to understand. They heard the silence of our minds, the quiet hum of our storage, and they mistook it for a challenge. A song of defiance, asterisk. Eva felt a chill that had nothing to do with the planet's cold. "They attacked you?" "For singing." "They attacked us for not singing back," the ghost corrected, a flicker of ancient anger in its form. They are a species of pure communication. To them, silence is an act of aggression. They sang a song of dominance, a frequency designed to shatter lesser minds. We tried to explain, to show them our art, our history, but their song was too loud. It was a weapon. It tore through our collective consciousness, fracturing it. We could not fight a song. We could only record it. To remember it was to be destroyed by it. Asterisk. The ghost gestured again, and the sphere pulsed. The chaotic, broken signal that had brought them here appeared on a shimmering screen of light in front of Eva. This is their song. The song of dominance. It is a weapon. It is a scream. We stored it here, a dead relic, a warning. Eva stared at the waveform, the jagged peaks and valleys now filled with terrible meaning. It wasn't a language. It was a weapon, and they had just flown into the middle of a cosmic graveyard, armed with nothing but curiosity. She felt a cold knot of dread form in her stomach. They were trespassers in a tomb, and the echoes of the killers were still echoing in the halls. The Odyssey was a fragile thing, a silver egg in a nest of stone and sorrow. Back on the bridge, Eva stared at the main viewer, which now displayed the Nemivore archive in all its silent, heartbreaking majesty. The broken signal pulsed on a secondary screen, a visual representation of the Song of Dominance. It was a beautiful, terrible thing, a mathematical scream. "We can't just leave it here, Commander," Kalen said, his voice tight. He'd been running diagnostics, and his face was pale. "The energy signature of this place, it's leaking. The song is bleeding through. It's not just a recording anymore. It's active. It's broadcasting." Eva turned slowly. "Broadcasting? To where?" Kalen swallowed. "Everywhere. The signal is weak, diluted by distance and time, but it's out there. It's a whisper of a scream. But what if something hears it? What if the Leviathans hear it, and think we're singing back?" The implications were horrifying. They hadn't just discovered a dead species. They had accidentally woken up the ghost of their executioner's song. They were a flare in the dark, a new voice in a chorus of silence. and they were broadcasting a weapon they couldn't even comprehend. "We have to shut it down," Eva said, her decision made. "We have to purge the core, scour it clean. It's the only way to make sure this song doesn't get out." Kalen looked horrified. "Purge it? Commander, that's the only record of an entire species. That's the Nemivores. We can't just erase them." "They're already gone, Kale," Eva said, her voice soft but firm. "All we're erasing is the echo of their killers. We can't let their deaths be a threat to others. It's the responsible thing to do." Kalen opened his mouth to argue, but the look on Eva's face stopped him. He saw the weight of command on her shoulders, the burden of a decision that could echo across the stars. He saw not just a commander, but a woman who would carry the ghosts of this place with her for the rest of her life. He gave a slow, reluctant nod. "Commander," he said, his voice hollow. "I'll prepare the purge sequence." The purge sequence was a terrible thing. It required Eva to interface directly with the central core, to walk into the heart of the archive and initiate the command manually. The process was designed to be a final act, a self-destruct sequence for a mind that had already died. Kalen guided her from the bridge, his face a mask of grim determination. They stood once more before the sphere of light, the Nemivore ghost waiting for them. It had sensed their intent. "You will silence us," it communicated, its voice a mixture of resignation and something else, something that might have been gratitude. "You will silence the song." Eva nodded, her suit's helmet off, her face bathed in the ghostly light. "We will," she said, her voice clear and strong. "Your silence has been a weapon long enough. We will make it peace." She stepped forward, placing her hands on the sphere. The moment she made contact, the universe exploded in her mind. She was no longer on the gray planet. She was inside the Nemivore gestalt. She felt their collective joy at the first sunrise, their shared sorrow at the loss of a child, their awe at the discovery of a new star. She was a billion minds, a trillion memories, all flowing into her. And then she felt the song. It was not a sound. It was a pressure, a physical force that tried to tear her psyche apart. It was a psychic tsunami, a wave of pure, unadulterated dominance, a roar of "I am, and you are not." It was the sound of a species that communicated by crushing all other sounds. It was beautiful in its terrifying complexity, a symphony of pure will, and it was designed to annihilate anything that heard it. Eva felt her own sense of self beginning to fray, her memories dissolving into the overwhelming noise. "Let it go," the Nemivores whispered through the chaos, their voices a soothing balm in the storm of the song. Let it go. Do not fight the song. Do not try to sing a louder song. There is no song to sing back. And in that moment, understanding struck Eva like lightning. The Nemivores hadn't died because they were weak. They had died because they had followed a rule that made no sense. They had tried to reason with a force that did not reason. They had tried to communicate with a species that only knew domination. They had tried to fight a song with silence, and silence, to the singers, was an act of war. Eva's fear was replaced by a cold, hard clarity. The human advantage wasn't technology or strength. It was the refusal to follow rules that didn't make sense. It was the audacity to do the unexpected. She stopped fighting the song. Instead, she did something the Nemivores, in their perfect, logical minds, had never conceived of. She did not sing back. She did not remain silent. She did something else entirely. Inside the maelstrom of the song, Eva found a single, pure memory from the Nemivores. It was not of a great discovery or a tragic loss. It was of a Nemivore caretaker holding a small, newly formed crystalline pillar. It was a new memory, a blank slate. The caretaker did not fill it with data or history. It hummed a soft, simple tune, a lullaby, to soothe the new mind into existence. It was a song of creation, of care, of gentle beginnings. It was the opposite of the song of dominance. It was a song of peace. And as Eva held on to that memory, she realized the truth. The broken signal, the one that had brought them here, was not the song of dominance. It was the Nemivore lullaby. It was the song of the caretaker, corrupted and reversed by the act of storing the lethal song of dominance right next to it. The two frequencies had bled into each other, warping the gentle lullaby into an unrecognizable mess. The Nemivores had heard the singer's song as an attack because their own song, the one of peace, had been twisted into a weapon by proximity to the scream. They had misunderstood the nature of their own archive. Eva clung to that lullaby, that memory of gentle care. She focused on it, pouring her own consciousness into it, reinforcing it, making it strong. The song of dominance, the psychic tsunami, meant not silence, not a countersong, but this. A simple, human gesture of understanding. She was not fighting the roar with a bigger roar. She was holding up a single, fragile candle and saying, "This is what you were trying to destroy." The effect was instantaneous and cataclysmic. The two frequencies, the lethal scream and the gentle lullaby, interacted. The lullaby did not overpower the song. It did not destroy it. It changed it. It reframed it. The song of dominance, when heard through the filter of the lullaby, was no longer a weapon. It became a question. Asterisk, why do you sing? Why do you need to dominate? Asterisk, the psychic pressure vanished, not because it was defeated, but because it was understood. The singer's song was not an attack. It was a cry of loneliness, a desperate plea for connection from a species that had none. Eva gasped, pulling her hands back from the sphere. The light in the chamber dimmed, then stabilized. The chaotic hum was gone. In its place was a new sound, a soft, resonant harmony that was both the Nemivore archive and something new. The song of dominance was still there, but it was no longer a weapon. It was a duet, a conversation. The Nemivore ghost shimmered before her, its form no longer radiating sorrow, but a profound, peaceful awe. You did not silence us, it communicated. Asterisk, you gave us a voice. You taught us how to listen. Asterisk. The journey back to the Odyssey was a silent one. Eva walked through the silent halls of the archive, no longer feeling like a thief, but like a guest. The pillars of crystalline memory no longer felt like tombs, but like a library, open and waiting. She understood now. The Nemivores hadn't died because they were weak. They had died because they were too perfect. Their logic was so absolute, their minds so attuned to pure data and memory, that they had forgotten the simple, illogical, beautiful truth of connection. They had followed the rule that silence was the only proper response to a song of aggression, and it had destroyed them. She had broken that rule. She had not remained silent. She had not fought back with a song of her own. She had offered a gesture of pure, unadulterated care. A lullaby. It was the simplest, most human thing she could have done, and it had worked. On the bridge, Kalen stared at her, his face a mixture of confusion and dawning awe. "The purge sequence," he said, his voice hoarse. "It's gone. The energy signature of the song, it's still there, but it's changed. It's calm. It's harmonious. What did you do in there, Eva?" Eva sank into the command chair, the familiar weight of it a comfort. She looked at the main viewer, at the silent, beautiful archive glowing against the dead planet. "I didn't erase their fear, Kale," she said, her voice quiet but strong. "I gave them a reason to be brave." She didn't explain further. Some truths were too vast for words, too intimate for a bridge log. The Nemivores were not gone. They were.
That's the story. Don't forget to subscribe to Omni-Fi so you never miss another tale.